Looks like we have most of our folks here tonight. I was seeing that Miss Atwood is not with us yet. I haven't heard anything from her, so hopefully she's coming this way. Yeah. Well, we will get started. First off, you've got your minutes from the February 18th meeting, which was quite short. I guess they caught up on budget amendments for this one. Have a motion by Mr. Gregory, Bubba Gregory, and a second by Mr. Chris Gregory. To approve the minutes as written. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. Minutes are permanent part of our record. Your next item is look at the trustees' cash balance. That's through your February of 2025. Any discussion on page 4 there? Trustees trial balance? If not, moving your page 5, you're seeing previous year comparison to this year's comparison at the same time. In your 101, 111, 116, 118, 151, and 131 there. Looks like our property tax pretty well caught up to where we were wanting it to be. That's always good to see. Running just a little behind last year's, but pretty close.
Grant, is that what's got it skewered? 24.4.
When we get over to the 111 here in a little bit, we'll see 2 grants, I believe, sitting in that one.
Yeah.
One of those that will make a difference. Any more discussions on page 4 or page 5? I'm sorry. If not, moving on to 101, we'll look first off at your revenue side of 101. That's pages 6 through the top of page 8. Mind you, we are in the 8th month, should be somewhere around 67%. And setting at about, if you look at, without the grants, it's always nice that we've got those thrown in there now. That's setting about 81%, 81.4% of revenues projected. Any line items of discussion or concern in those areas?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Krieger.
just a note again, and I think I'd mentioned this maybe a couple months before, and still seeing the,
Can you speak towards that mic?
yeah, sorry. I think I had noted this, maybe a couple months ago, but, still see the, 4250, 4260, the litigation tax is still running, still running low, and so is the county clerk, 45,510. Just think at budget time, we might want to look at those numbers.
Well noted there. I think you mentioned the business tax. You'll see that deposits in May.
250, 260.
Okay, litigation, two litigation taxes, general services, and special purpose. Okay. Yeah, I mean, when you think about litigation, it's not always easy to predict what's gonna come through your court system. So those could bounce quickly at any given time, so, and they could run under. There was another you mentioned that I did not catch.
County clerk, 45,510. On page 7.
County clerk, 45,510.
So it's only about 46%. And I guess general sessions court, 45,540 is about the same, about 48%.
I think your county clerk we've looked at in the past, it seems more vehicles are purchased around the time that tax dollars are coming back. So I think you'll see that one jump in the near future between now and June. That is one that has come to the table. More vehicles have been purchased right in that time of tax season returns. Any other discussion? Mr. Ford?
44,110, seemed like we got a considerable more, money coming in. I know we didn't budget that much, but we're barely over halfway through the year and it's already at 122%. It's gotta be.
Do what?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. That number looks fantastic right now. When we look at it next year, we will not be there.
I think that has a difference in the CD amounts and some of those pieces that have been gaining, pretty nice. If you, careful with my words, we had some CD opportunities that existed and those were drawing at a really nice rate. Interest rates are not as good as they were. May not have the same cash flow available either. Any other notable areas? If not, moving to expenditures in the 101. Like I said, revenue coming in at 81.4%, and expenditures are sitting at 55.8%. Always good to see. Mr. Ford?
Employee benefits, unemployment, looks like that's pretty high. Have we laid anybody off or whatever? $58,600.
I think I might have heard turnover positions might be,
Turnover more than,
More than one.
was they allowed to draw? Did they quit or what?
We are based on per case. So we don't pay quarterly, we pay per case that comes through.
that clear that up? Any other discussion? Expenditures 101. If not, moving to the 111. You see your 111 revenue side coming in at 76.2%. And expenditures sitting at 57.1%. Again, always good to see your revenues well outrunning your expenditures. Any discussion items in either of portions of the 111 there? If not, looking,
That 4390 statutory local taxes, what's,
you said 43,
or 4390, other statutory local taxes is 37% right now. That's something we get in at.
I don't have an answer for that one. We will try to find that answer. What is that other statutory? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Local taxes. Okay. Try to have an answer by next week. Or one sent out by email soon.
And then that cable one right under it, we get paid this month for the whole amount on it.
That should come in.
Okay.
I'm not.
Mr. Gregory?
Also note, 43,107, the residential waste collection, it is running about 12% below where we ought to be for, thank you.
Glad you caught that one. I was gonna let you know the same thing. That one is a behind. There's a couple of those that come in those routes. You have to think about billing and those sides of those. They're not gonna be dead on. $116. Ready to move? 116 revenues coming in at 86.4%, while expenditures are at 44.8%. Any discussion 116? If not, turning to page 12, we're on ambulance services. Your ambulance service revenues coming in at 86.7%, while expenditures are at 60.6%. Your breakdowns of those are on page 30 or 13 and 14. Breaking down expenditures. Mr. Gregory?
Sorry, back to 116 for a quick second. Just had a question in the expenditures. 55,732 convenience centers and 55,759 other waste disposal. Both are well below which is good. I'm just wondering, are there any big expenses that we're expecting in the next 3 months in those departments?
I don't know that even-
Any other discussion there? Always good to see expenditures coming in well low. We will have more questions when they're on the other end of that. Back to 118. Mr. Gregory, I can't answer. There are no vehicles out for purchase, so there's nothing large there on the wait. mention again, it's great to see the overtime staying where it's at, as well as not having to use part-time personnel. Any discussion 118? If not, 121 Core Civic, as we've stated, that's really just passed through. 122 County Drug. That's a part of a sheriff's fund there that's really, revenues are, I know it says coming in at 16.3%, but as you look at those, you don't know where those forfeitures are gonna look like and forfeiture sales are gonna be and things of that nature, so it's a hit or miss piece. I will mind you that the budget, it says 16.3%, but it was budgeted at $16,000. That's shouldn't drive us too worried there. Zero on the expenditures, even better. 127, American Rescue, 127, 128 are your ARPA funds that are sitting. Not a fund balance, let me restate that, but ARPA fund movements. Weird all this, good. Any discussion, 127, 128? If not, 151 debt service. Man, this looks a lot nicer than it used to. Mr. Ford?
Scheduling to pay anything on debt this year, just as it comes available.
Did we have in that loan, in that new consolidation loan we did, I believe there might have been thank you, Mr. Dennis. I was thinking 5 years. I think there's a 5-year hold on any, in that piece. Like, it's not gonna benefit us to pay over in those pieces. In that reconsolidation that we did with, putting all those under one locked interest rate. Does that answer that question? Thank you, Mr. Dennis, for that 5. That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't gonna put it out without, it wasn't on my mind clear. Any more discussion, 151? If not, moving to 171 capital projects. The income in this one is straight from revenue side, is straight from the negotiated fee that comes through Core Civic for the administration fee. Expenditures have been held to movement about the jail. It is capital projects. You might see this account start changing some in the future, depending on how some certain votes go. No questions in 171, 131. Highway always does well with their money. They get a little over 100,000 of county's money. Moving to 141. General purpose schools, you're gonna look at the revenue side. Gotcha. Mr. Ford?
Miscellaneous funds. What is miscellaneous fund?
44-170 miscellaneous refunds.
Yep,
Um. I'll have to check on that one for you, sir. Not sure what refunds. I have no idea on that one. Mr. Gregory?
46,790, other vocational at 34% of anticipated revenue. What, do we know what that is? That's about 300 or it should be 400. What about 420 something thousand below expected at this point?
We'll ask and inquire for that one for you as well. Any other discussion? Mr. Ford?
come in and give his report. Supposed to be doing it quarterly, ain't it?
It was set up where we could do that quarterly. That was correct. Yes, sir. If you have a desire for him to come in, we can get him to come in. On a quarterly piece. He will be here soon in April, to, discuss, or May, I guess, to discuss some of those pieces for sure. We can ask him in if you wish for him to. I would almost bet you he'll do the same thing I'm gonna do. And we'll call Angie and find out. But we will know that tomorrow for you.
I'd like to make a motion to accept these financial statements.
Have a motion to accept, these financial statements
I'll
as,
second it.
and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, let it know by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable from this committee. Thank you. Moving next, we will move into a couple, quite a few budget amendments. Just a reminder, you've got, R and G, a few of these things with nothing behind them. R is reserve funds, G is a grant. I didn't see any Fs, so no fund balance draws on this one. So, looking first off at your senior citizen reserves, $3,850, for the purchase, dues, and memberships. And then, maintenance to the building. I think there was a construct a greenhouse. I believe that's what they're describing as maintenance to the building. And the purchase of a laptop for the director. Any discussion on this item further? If not, was
Motion
that
to
one?
approve.
Have a motion to approve and have a second by Mr. Chris Gregory. Any discussion further? If not, all those in favor of the motion as stated, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. Your next one, again, staying in the 101, insurance recovery, sheriff's vehicle. Insurance recovery, minus a $500 deductible for an incident on February the 2nd involving sheriff patrol car and a deer. There are a few of those out there. Have a motion by Mr. Gregory to approve. Do I hear a second? Have a second by Bubba Gregory behind you there. Any discussion further? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. One oh one, again, salary supplements. This is salary supplements to the law enforcement. If you'll see salary supplements for law enforcement staff meetings, staff meeting the eligible requirement benefits amount being taken from unused funding from the 53,920. Sheriff salary supplements. That's all this states. Have a motion by Mr. Gregory to approve. That's Bubba Gregory. And a second by Mr. Ford. Any discussion? No, but I see the sheriff back there. He can help us. Sheriff, the budget amendment for this one says, salary supplements and for law enforcement staff meeting the eligibility requirement in service pay. This is coming from leftover, so not in the budget, if that's what this is. Let's hold on that one for a minute and come back to it. Is that what you were saying? We're good to continue there with that one. This is coming from a leftover amount being taken from unused funding, line item 53,920. That is courtroom security, just so we are all clear there. It is coming from short courtroom security. That line item has budgeted $170,669. It is currently sitting at $64,656 or 37.9%. Do I hear a motion to approve? That's right. I thought we did. We already had a motion and a second by Mr. Ford. Thank you. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. Your next, coming from 101, number 16, HSGP funding. Homeland Security grant to be allocated to other equipment. Boy, that's that fun one. Those other words. And the amount of $9,315. I saw the word grant. I'm on page 26. Mr. Ford, is that a motion? Mr. Ford with a motion to approve. Do I hear a second? I'll second it. If that's all right by y'all, no one against it. I don't like doing it from the chair, but if we're not gonna get a second, I don't mind a bit on this one. Any discussion further? All those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. If I'm going too fast, slow me down. There's something we need to go back and look at? Okay. Page 27, 11104 salary supplements. I think this is going to be the same salary supplements we looked at in the 101 a few minutes ago. I have a motion by Chris Gregory to approve. I have a second by Bubba Gregory. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. And the one, as Miss Amy will tell you, I've been asking for every month since January. Is this one coming up? Is this one coming up? Here we have it in front of us, at an amount that is, in my opinion, very favorable. This generator came, a similar type deal came to us, not to push the entire building, a little over a year ago at over 120,000. So this is a nice setup. If you want any more information on it, I think, County Buildings has done a really good job of working through this and the need for our county. It is a local contractor. I think there's, if you look there, Bransford, of Lafayette. So it is, also somebody we can call pretty quick in case we have an issue. I think it's all in front of you there. It's for a generator to run the entire admin office in the event of a power outage. This would let your administration building completely run.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Ms. Overman. I'm sorry, Ms. Overman. Do I hear a second? A second by Mr. Ford. This is a full whole house backup generator. Yes, sir. One of the major things it does is it lets our 911 system be fully operational in an emergency. And instead of having to carry a generator down and pull start one, it will take care of the whole building. You have a command center, I guess, in a way. Mr. Gregory?
How long is the extended warranty that's listed on the Bransford sheet?
I believe it's 5 years was what it was stated. As good as warranties are, it's 5 years. I think if I understood this correctly, if this is approved, it is approximately a 10-week turnaround. There is some prep work, some change work there, and most likely some time to get a generator on site. It is showing ARPA. Yes, sir. Request is hereby made to amend 128 ARPA. So it's pulling 80,000 out of ARPA funding. So the ARPA, if you'll remember, the question came up, when does it have to be spent, not have to be spent, those kind of things. The way we did our ARPA, we've already put it into our movements. We do not have a deadline on ours, so we've already met all those pieces. So we're in good shape with ARPA funding. Close to 500,000 before this movement out. I keep up with it pretty close, but it's pretty close to that before this movement out. If you do plus or minus 10%, you'll be really well. I did have a motion from Ms. Overman, a second by Mr. Ford. Do I hear any more discussion? I think this is definitely needed. All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. All right, you see that contract there in the next couple of pages. I guess I should have discussed that a minute ago. My apologies. Next one up, we move to highway line items. Highway has a budget amendment request here. You can, if you want me to read through them, I certainly will. The largest amount of this is, as you can tell, maintenance and repairs to vehicles and maintenance and repairs to equipment. That's 20 grand of this. I have a motion by Mr. Gregory Bubba and a second by Mr. Chris Gregory. Any discussion further? I will say the highway department always does a really good job with managing their money. All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. Moving now into 141, tuition fees. Regular instruction program budget transfer of $20,500 to pay for hard to staff teacher tuition fees and grow your own teacher apprentice salaries. We have a program now through our high school that I'll give you this because I do know a little bit about this one. I've got a student in my building that comes over twice a week. And then have had one each quarter. That movement changes where they go. But there are students that are looking to be teachers in the future, and we're giving them those helps along the way. A couple that are one that's going to college right now and getting paid a salary. She's in my building twice a week for a full day. It's a grow your own program. See your kids come back through. Hopefully it helps us to have students that are ready to come into our system and be ready to teach in the future. Have a motion by Ms. Overman to approve, second by Mr. Ford. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. Health insurance. Looking here in this case, early childhood program budget transfer of $9,900 to cover employee health insurance.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Ms. Atwood and a second by Mr. Ford to approve. Any discussion further? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. Maintenance and repairs. You'll see quite a few pieces in this elementary school sewer line. They had a sewer line collapse in an old part of that building, had to saw out some floor and put in another area. You also see the roof repair, some additional money there on that roof, 4th and 5th grade. I believe if I remember that correctly, it was not put in the budget to add the new roof section over the 4th and 5th grade cafeteria little area, that flat section and the ramp down, which this made all the building have a new metal roof is pretty much where that put it at. I don't think it covered that portion of it originally. So I understand that correctly. I hear a motion to approve before I have to go through the rest of it. A motion and a second. Any discussion further? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. That is all of our budget pieces. Our next item here on this piece is the budget FY26. We have to send or set the revenues. That's one thing that, we only see the revenue side of 141 when we go through our pieces. Why? Because we set the revenue side that we can on that end. And it is before you to set the revenues at the same revenue that was set last year. As you will notice, those are proposed in yellow. I'm on page 34 of 34. You'll see the budgeted line item numbers from the 24-25. They will match. Do I hear a motion to set? And what happens here is we send this to the Education Board of Education. Board of Education will then take those and set their needs and come back to us and say, hey, we need this instead of this. And that's all we're getting started here. I have a motion to approve by Mr. Bubba Gregory. I have a second by Mr. Dennis. Any discussion further? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. Well, that brings us to other. Is there any other items want to be brought, Mr. Gregory?
Just to note, so the other members of the Budget Committee are aware, at First Response Committee last month, the sheriff mentioned that he asking about pay raises for his employees in the next budget year. So just, we probably need to be thinking about that, and also just, when we start having that conversation, of course, every other department is gonna probably come wanting pay raises as well. So it's just something to be aware of. And then one other thing, with regards to the remaining ARPA funds, Parks Committee has discussed, and Cliff is looking at quotes on basically, to an extent, tearing down and rebuilding the pool. And so, obviously, we don't have any numbers or anything like that yet, but we might want to watch our future ARPA spending just to, until we get that from Cliff, so we know what we'd be looking at there and whether we even want to do that or not.
Thank you for those inputs. Any other discussion? If not, any members of the public, any public comment? Mr. Thomas? Thank you for bringing that to the table. Do we have anything to counter offer in that piece? Moving on from there. Thank you. Any other public comment? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Ford, seconded by Mr. Gregory. All those in favor may move to the next meeting.